Hello.
Hi.
Welcome
To is this a
I don't know.
call-in response?
Maybe.
Welcome to to
Hello
welcome
to Double
Trouble.
Feature.
It's a podcast.
You're listening to it right now.
Right this very second.
You found it somewhere. We don't even know where it's going to be yet, but you found it.
Probably because I put it on my Facebook page.
Should we introduce ourselves?
I'll let my art speak for itself.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jen. So I'm the so-called movie lover. Am I a movie lover?
I feel like you count as an expert.
Movie expert? I guess I'm an expert. I've watched a lot of movies in my life, but as we'll probably get into in this podcast, there are some movies that I haven't seen that are so-called classics, but I've seen far more than you.
Yes. I'm the simpleton in this situation who has seen, no movies. Essentially, people get mad at me a lot because I haven't seen whatever beloved movie that they think I should have seen. And so we're remedying it and making a podcast about it. And hopefully you don't fucking hate it. Yikes.
Got dark there for a minute.
Hopefully you don't dox me when I,
We're not going to tell you our last names, so you can't dox us.
my last name. My name is Alex Murphy.
And my name is Jenn Button. Perfect.
You'll never
find us now. So the premise here of the Double Trouble feature podcast that you're listening to right now is that I am going to show Alex a film that she should have seen that's arguably a classic, or arguably a film that, you should probably watch in your lifetime. And she, being a lover of maybe quote-unquote trash cinema, as I would describe it, is going to show me a film that is on a similar story, subject, idea as the film that I'm showing her, but it's a bad movie.
Not necessarily. I will say we have a whole Google Doc. Some of them aren't bad. I would just describe them as off the beaten path.
All right, fair. I like that, off the beaten path.
But a lot of them are bad.
But a lot of them are bad.
And then some of the movies that Jen's going to show me aren't necessarily classics, but they're really good, or just people really love them.
So, here we are. Episode 1. First episode. Premiere episode.
Oh boy.
How many other ways can I say one?
Un.
Ichiban.
Uno. That's
okay, great, cool. So, episode 1, we decided to watch the films Alien, a film that I have seen, I think, including the time we watched it for this episode, 3 times now.
Oh.
Not a lot.
I would have thought a lot more.
Yeah.
And then I showed Jen the film Leprechaun 4 in space,
which I've never seen. I've also never seen any films in the Leprechaun franchise of films.
You're 1 out of 7. You just got 6 more to go.
I've seen all of the Alien franchise films. I own the quadrology box set, and I've seen the Prometheus movies, and I saw Alien Covenant, so I'm well versed in the world of Alien. How old were you when the film Leprechaun 4 in Space was released theatrically in the year 1997?
At some point in that year, I turned 6.
Cool. And so that means then that you were definitely not born when Alien was released.
When was it? Was late 70s?
I actually don't know the release year. We should look that up. I mean, you could just say yes.
Yes, I was not alive. Possibly sperm. I don't know how long that works. I'm cutting this part out.
You're going to cut the sperm part?
I'm cutting the sperm part!
I think you should keep that in. 1979. You're correct.
Holy shit! I was right about something.
Also, I was not alive in the year 1979.
That makes sense because you are 9.5 years older than me. You know what podcast listeners love? Math.
So I think you wanted to kind of pre-watching these movies tell me what you thought Alien was about before you watched Alien. Can you go back to the time in your mind before you saw Alien and remember what you thought that movie was about?
Yes, I can. There's an alien. I've seen it in images and references to the Alien franchise. It's got a big old bean head.
Would you describe it as wet looking?
Yes. And I will get into that. That's something I want to talk about. I would describe it as a wet looking alien. Sigourney Weaver is like a sexy babe. That was my understanding of the movie. Sexy babe, half naked, fighting the alien. Spoiler alert. That didn't happen. But I'll complain about that at a later time.
I will say I saw Aliens, the second film in this franchise, first, and I didn't love it. And so I was like, oh, maybe I don't like the Alien films. And then I saw Alien, I think at like a midnight screening, and I was like, oh no, this is the good one. But a lot of people love Aliens, but I think it's not that great.
So I was complaining about the lack of nudity in this film to someone, and they then told me I was probably thinking of Aliens. Is that about right?
I think she's more naked in Aliens. It's been a minute since I've watched it because I don't tend to watch that one when I want to watch a film in the Alien franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I go for Alien, the original.
Aliens, are there multiple of them?
I don't think so.
Then why is it called Aliens?
I think
Welcome
they
to
just
my TED
liked.
Talk.
I think they just like to put the S on the end. I mean, look, we're gonna get a lot of angry tweets and or Instagram messages or phone calls. Stay tuned for the number.
Telegrams,
carrier pigeons. Oh, good. I'm glad we both went there at the same time.
In person, just ranting at me in line at Starbucks.
So let me just start at episode 1 and say, don't at us. We are just two ladies chatting about our opinions, and we don't really, I don't really care about yours, person out there who's going to get indignant with me for saying I don't like Aliens or not quite sure how many aliens are in Aliens.
I care too much, so that's why you shouldn't, just for my mental health. Just be nice, please. I'm very sensitive. Yeah, so that was my impression of Alien.
Oh, right. You're getting us back on track. Perfect.
Literally all of those things. Big old bean-headed alien. For some reason, we gotta kill him. Who's gonna do it? Sigourney Weaver. And she's kind of naked. And that's it.
So should I tell you what I thought Leprechaun 4 in Space was about?
I would love if you did that.
Well, so my vague understanding of the Leprechaun franchise and films 1 through 3 that precede 4, where I jumped in.
And the prequel.
Oh, there's a prequel. Didn't even know.
Leprechaun Origins.
Oh, cool. Was unaware that there was a prequel. I guess we'll have to check that out.
It came out last, though.
Oh, it's one of those.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that there is a leprechaun. Mm-hmm. I think that he's scary because I thought the original was like a horror movie. Mm-hmm. So I assumed he was kind of scary. Clearly with the title In Space, I knew that this took place in space. That's about it. I don't know what the leprechaun does. I'm unsure how he goes about harming people. I'm assuming he's, an evil character. But I don't really know why. And so that's where I went when we sat down to watch Leprechaun 4 in space.
Do you want to start with one of these? Which one do we want to take the deep dive into first?
I want to start with Alien.
Let's do it. Let's talk about Alien. Here's my first thought about Alien.
I want to hear your thoughts on Alien.
Okay, so opening scene is kind of cool. You're setting the stage in space. I like it. Space stuff is tight. However, immediately a little uncomfortable because they sleep in those pods. I sleep on my stomach, and I just don't know how you would do it, and that was the first thing I thought of.
In the pod?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it just be the same?
It doesn't look like it would work.
Those are like cryogenic chambers, really. They're like being I guess they're not being frozen, but they're sleeping for like many years because their journey is like very long. Do you think that the stomach would still be a problem?
I feel like I would wake up from my cryogenic sleep and be like, have like a crook in my neck or back.
I mean, maybe. None of us have ever done any deep space traveling or sleeping.
1-star doc.
So are we going for a star? We should maybe set our rating parameters.
I'll have my parameters. You'll have your parameters. I'm sure.
Great.
I feel like we should at the end tell each other the scores that we're giving these films, but then not say which one's which.
Cool. Is your parameter out of 5 or out of 10?
If I'm deducting for the pods, I guess half a star. I'm gonna go 5 stars. Okay. Deducting half a star for the pods.
I'm a fan of 5.
It made my back hurt.
Made my back hurt. Okay, this is gonna go on the new poster for Alien, and it's just, it made my back hurt. Alex, you're welcome, Ridley Scott.
So they open up that scene. They get out of their pods. This is a common theme among both films. People just smoking in space. I don't think you can do that.
Who's smoking?
They had cigarettes, I think.
I don't remember.
I don't think you can smoke in space.
Was somebody smoking in Alien? I mean, in Leprechaun 4?
Oh yeah, the whole the very big first scene. Someone's like, "Who's got a cigarette?"
We literally just finished watching Leprechaun 4. I don't want to detract from your review of Alien.
Oh, no, go for it.
But I've forgotten a large amount of that movie already, mostly because I decided it was not important to keep in my brain, even though we were coming in here to record a podcast about it. Ooh.
I took a lot of notes. It's okay.
I took some notes.
But yeah, they start smoking. I feel like you shouldn't smoke in space. I feel like there's something not right with that, but it's the future. I don't know everything. There's a cat. I liked the cat.
Do you remember the cat's name?
She was saying it so much at the end, I was getting pissed. It's like, come on, you don't need the fucking cat. Get off the spaceship.
It's Jones.
There we go. That sounds about right. Jones the cat, my favorite character. They're eating food.
Are you just doing like a beat by beat recap right now? Is that what's going on?
I don't know.
I'm just curious if you're gonna go beat by beat or
I guess so. I mean,
broad strokes. What were your favorite moments? Maybe Alex's highlights?
Highlights of Alien. Okay, so I want to talk about what my favorite alien of Alien is. Like my favorite version of the alien. Which is when it comes out of the guy's chest and it looks like a weird little penis.
They refer to that as the chest burster alien.
Yeah, the chest burster alien looks like a little penis goblin, scurries away, which is like the funniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
He's got like little tiny metal teeth.
So does he have metal teeth when he becomes the big boy alien?
Yeah, I think so. He's real like liquid looking.
Yeah, okay, so I have thoughts about this. I'm kind of jumping around here. And
it's fine.
So my thoughts on the liquidness of all of this is, in space, people make a real big deal when there's water in space. It's kind of a common theme in the movie that people will touch something wet or slimy. They'll touch something wet or slimy and then not really think anything of it, and then they get killed by the alien. And to me, if you're in space and you feel something wet, you'd go, oh shit.
That's an alien?
That's a life form. I guess this is like the future, so maybe they don't give a shit anymore.
I don't know. We don't get a lot of backstory in the time that they are currently existing in. We know that they are on a cargo ship.
Yes.
We know that they are bringing back cargo. We know that there's an argument regarding credits.
Bonuses.
Which
is a common theme in Leprechaun.
In these two films.
Yeah. So what is your highlight of Alien?
Highlights of Alien?
Yeah.
Highlights of Alien. Jones. I love Jones the cat. I love the face hugger alien, the alien that just like gets on the dude's face and wraps its coil around his neck. Facehugger is my favorite alien. I think in the franchise in general.
So it comes back. Well, I guess that's
well. It just that's how the alien gets inside of you.
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver, I mean Queen, right? She's great. I forget their character names. Don't at me. But Yaphet Kotto and Harry Dean Stanton, the two kind of like engineer guys who were like against everybody else.
Oh, I fucks with that one.
They are my favorite. I don't know. I just love the tension of this movie. I mean, I've seen it a bunch of times, but it's still really stressful. We watched it together at the ArcLight. Great thing about living in LA is that, theaters here show old movies all the time. So Alien was playing at the ArcLight. I said, Alex, we got to go see it. You got to see it on the big screen.
Big boy screen.
And there's, clearly we're going to be talking spoilers. We're recounting movies, but the moment where Tom Skerritt is in the air passages and you know that the alien's coming and then the camera turns and you know it's going to be there, I still jumped. I jumped so hard.
I
was so scared at that moment. And that's what I like about this movie is that the number of times I've seen it, it's still so terrifying. I love all the space stuff. As a fan of this franchise, and even though I don't love the Prometheus prequel films as much, I love that I had recently watched Alien Covenant and then watched Alien again, and there are exact set pieces that look exactly the same. And even with the, 30 years, 40 years of difference between the films, they still look the same. I love that sort of stuff of this franchise. So I'm a big fan of Alien. Do we want to talk about trivia? Do we want to get into some Alien trivia?
I'll get into some Alien trivia.
We're going to get onto IMDb. For those of you who don't know, this is the Internet Movie Database.
It's like a not super well-known website.
Yeah. We're probably going to help it get into the big times by talking about it on our podcast.
They should give us some money or something. We're sponsored by IMDb. I'm saying it now. They don't know it yet, but soon enough.
Oh, here we go. I found a great piece of trivia. Shredded condoms were used to create tendons of the beast's ferocious jaws.
There's a joke here to be made about shredded condoms creating something.
The dead face hugger was 4 oysters and a sheep kidney. That's terrifying.
I can see the oyster thing. That seems like about right.
This one's too long, so I'm just not going to read it. I want you to put that in, though.
Okay.
Harrison Ford turned down this movie. Way to fuck up, Harrison Ford.
Who is he going to play?
Captain Dallas, which I believe is Tom Skerritt. I like Tom Skerritt more.
I'm going to go ahead and say it. Well, yeah. Well, here's the deal. Tom Skerritt, spoiler alert, dies maybe halfway through the movie, right? Dies halfway through the movie, but he's the biggest zaddy of the whole movie. I was hoping it's going to be there a lot longer.
Film takes place in 2122, so that's 100 and a few years away from now.
Yeah,
we'll be dead by then, hopefully. God willing.
Oh, please.
Oh, here we go. This is one that I feel like you definitely want to know about. Because of your concerns about the wetness of all things, do you know what that wetness was? I want you to guess, because I feel like your guess is going to be right.
It's not Jell-O. It's just fucking slime, like a.
Think about your favorite alien.
Is it jizz?
Close. It's KY jelly.
Oh, okay.
Is what they used for the slime.
I was going to say
lube by layman's terms.
Gross. It looked a lot more viscous.
Well, I don't know. That's what I take IMDb trivia with a grain of salt, because I feel like any jabroni can come in here and write whatever they want, So
and we're gonna see a real jabroni do some Leprechaun trivia in the IMDb for Leprechaun 4 in space.
Is there some jabroni trivia in there?
Yeah, that's the only one I'm gonna read.
Also, this is way off topic, but I just want to say my use of jabroni is because I love Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and I just think people should know that.
I think you should know that everyone fucking loves Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
I want to say that I loved him first.
What about his mom?
All right, fine. Mama Rock.
I'm tweeting at Mama Rock
Mama
right
Rock.
now.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson, if you ever listen to this podcast, please at me.
Please be a co-host. You can come into my closet.
I mean, I sort of hate movie trivia, but I'm here on this podcast wasting your time by telling you about it. So, you know.
And we literally are in a trivia group, and you're like our ringer in terms of movie trivia.
That's true. I'm, got a lot of useless information in my brain.
I don't have any information in my brain.
You know lots of information. You're a very smart lady.
Oh, thank you. What else do we want to say about Alien? There's more. Well, maybe we'll watch Alien 2 at some point. Even though it's
called Aliens, not Alien 2.
Let me tell you the titles.
Let me tell you the titles of the Alien franchise, because this is probably something we want to keep in here.
Alien.
Not really.
Alien. Aliens. Alien. More aliens.
Nope. Alien 3.
Uh-huh.
Alien Resurrection.
I'm going to go ahead and say that Alien died in Alien 1. Or at least they made it seem like he died. And therefore, if he comes back in Aliens, that one's Alien Resurrection. And they're just throwing words willy-nilly wherever they want.
Okay.
Man, I'm getting real critical of Alien. It's a good movie.
Well, should we, it's hard for me to talk at length about a movie because I just like to like my movies and I really don't care what anybody else thinks. Is that a snotty attitude to have?
No, I think the snotty attitude is I don't care what you think and whatever you think is wrong.
Oh, I also have that, so I do have a snotty attitude.
Yes.
Cool. Great.
Are we wrapping up Alien? Are we done with Alien?
Are we done with Alien?
I feel like we've missed some stuff. Let's go rewind. I want to talk about what's the dude? The android boy.
Oh, yeah, I forget.
Why is he full of milk?
Did you notice the scene? So, okay. I should say first is I've seen Alien a few times and I like Alien and it's a movie that I would call if somebody's like, oh, what kind of sci-fi movies do you like? I'd be like, Alien, obviously. But when we watched it together, I sort of forgot that guy is an android. And then there's the scene of him drinking that glass of milk, and I was like, oh, right, he's the android.
I didn't know he was android. Obviously, this is my first time ever seeing this movie, but I just remember looking at him and going, oh, that's weird. I'm just generally weirded out by people just drinking a glass of milk. And so I distinctly remember being like, gross. And then he was full of it, and I was like, oh, that's his life juice? I don't know.
His life juice. So I don't know if it's really milk or if it's some sort of white liquid life substance for him. Did you like it though, that whole sequence when he went crazy?
When he was
malfunctioning, essentially.
After or before he got the shit beat out of him?
I mean, both times. Oh, did you like it when they just had his head stuck on the ground and they rebooted him to get some information out of him?
I thought that was kind of tight. It fucks hard with an android.
I mean, I think one thing to say, and actually I think this does segue well maybe into the next movie, or just, because we're talking about both of these, is that Alien is from 1979, and the effects in that movie hold up very well. Nothing looks super ridiculous, I feel like.
And that's a good segue into Leprechaun 4 in Space, because Leprechaun 4 in Space is more recent and it does not hold up.
The effects in Leprechaun in Space are terrible. But, I mean, and this is something, all of the movie people love to talk about, and it's a real testament to practical effects versus digital effects, because the practical effects in Alien hold up so well and the digital effects in Leprechaun look so lame.
The digital effects in Leprechaun 4 in Space look like an educational video game that you would play in elementary school to teach you about I don't even know. I feel like there's an asteroid in space and then you hit the asteroid and it's what's 4 times 2? And you're like,
They look like a shitty Windows screensaver.
It looks like RuneScape.
I don't know RuneScape.
You didn't play RuneScape? You didn't trick boys into being your boyfriend on RuneScape and have them give you money and then
No, but I want to hear this story. That's it.
The
That's
year
the story.
was probably not too far after Leprechaun 4 in Space
The
came
year
out.
was 1999.
Probably. I think that's about right.
And Alex tricked boys into giving her money. This fake money, is this digital money in a game situation or real money?
I think it might have, I don't know if it was money or like stuff in RuneScape. I'm like, I'm your girlfriend now. And then I would get like an axe or something.
Cool.
And then I don't know if you could block them or like what, but I did that. And
breaking hearts at an early age.
A little shit.
All right, so are we gonna just slide right into Leprechaun? I mean, I feel like we'll have more things to say about Alien once we start talking about Leprechaun.
Yeah, there's some overlap. There's some references to Alien in Leprechaun.
So I'm gonna just like set a little bit of the stage for you listeners at home. So we went and saw Alien at the ArcLight maybe like a month ago,
yeah.
Something like that. Didn't take any notes.
No.
We talked briefly about the movie for like a moment, and then we kind of went our separate ways.
Yeah.
We've been trying to figure out when we were going to watch Leprechaun in Space, and tonight just kind of worked out. But we took notes while we were watching Leprechaun in Space, and I want to just like read some choice notes out of context.
So before the movie even started, I just wrote down all the things I know about Leprechaun.
Oh, okay, yeah, I like this.
I wrote gold, parentheses, don't take, jigs, cane, parentheses, optional, rainbow, Irish. And it hit on some of these.
It does hit on some of those. So the first note that I wrote down is just effects hyphen bad in all caps with a line under it, because that was the first thing from the moment the movie started. The credit effects are just god awful.
So I think the first thing that I wrote was about the soundtrack, actually, but the soundtrack and the effects are happening simultaneously, and I wrote soundtrack was made using one Casio keyboard.
So I'm not going to read you all my notes, but I'm just going to read some of my favorite notes, and I think, and I'm just going to, it's almost going to be like word association for you at home, people who've maybe seen Leprechaun 4 in Space. Maybe you haven't seen it in a while. Let's see if this jogs your memory. Glitter forehead.
Yeah.
P static. I mean, my favorite note, and I mean, this is a spoiler. OMG, he rebirthed himself from that dude's dick. That's a thing that happens in Leprechaun 4.
And that is the reference
Space.
to Alien. Is the Leprechaun like gets blown up, but then like his soul and his power, after he gets blown up, one of the Marine dudes is like, I'm gonna piss on the alien. And I believe, I have the
You wrote a lot. Alex wrote way more notes than I did.
I have like 5 pages of notes.
She was scribbling furiously as we watched this film.
I just wrote, piss on the dead leprechaun, and then they said, death from above.
Yeah,
there's a lot
of bad lines in this movie.
Zingers.
But there were a lot of chuckles, and then we both wrote down things, and I'm sure that there's some of these notes. The other note that I want to talk about, I just saw it, that the spaceship has a doorbell.
The spaceship does have a doorbell, and it sounds exactly like a doorbell that is in your home right now.
I mean, there's a lot of things in Leprechaun 4 in Space that I could have problems with. I think my biggest problem is the spaceship doorbell.
Then
that's where I refuse to suspend my disbelief, is that the spaceship has a doorbell.
Whoa.
I think P static makes way more logical sense than...
What about space disco?
The disco ball?
This disco, they have a fucking discotheque in their fucking Marine.
I feel like, I watched a lot of Star Trek Next Generation with the holodeck, and, space disco don't bother me. But space doorbell, that bothered the shit out of me.
That's the tagline. One thing, I think the thing that bugged me most, I guess it didn't bug me most, but the strange thing that really bothered me, and I think I've said many things about it, was that at some point, you're never going to believe it, there's a lot of women's breasts in this movie.
Shocker.
And the woman takes off her shirt by by going down.
No, the man pulls her shirt down. And
she pulls it down.
I thought he pulled it down.
She pulled it down. And I was like, why wouldn't you?
Maybe she was trying to block her vagina from him by only offering her breasts, which... I mean,
Smart
if
move.
that guy were pawing all over me, I would too. And then also, moments later, a leprechaun came out of his dick. So she made the right choice there.
Yeah, that was a good choice. But I was very, like, strangely mad about it. I was like, that seems like more work. And then it's just still, your tank top's still just hanging out around your waist.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like to no one's surprised is anyone shocked to hear that Leprechaun 4 in Space has a woman problem. Although...
Go for it.
We do think that it may pass the Bechdel test.
It may pass the Bechdel test. I don't know the entire criteria, but there are two women who talk to each other not about men, and it...
I think that's, like, sadly the criteria.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
Which...
But great. Thank you. Ooh, whoever made this fucked up.
I mean, I would not say thank you to this person.
Yeah, there's some other problematic shit in this movie.
There's an almost sexual assault.
Yeah.
It's just real creepy.
I wrote Harold just wants to fuck.
Oh, what's the one that there's another note in here that I saw while we were watching the film that I lulled about. Do you want to read that one?
Is it the one
for the readers
where Harold said, "Don't touch me unless you mean it, cowboy"?
No, but that was the moment when Harold became my favorite character, and then when he started to sexually assault Glitter Forehead, as I have named her, I then realized that I don't like Harold and I hoped he died.
I think the thing that you chucked at was Danny is a pussy.
Yes, that's it.
Danny is a pussy, and I'm glad he's dead.
I did like, though, that they named a character Danny and used the opportunity to have the leprechaun sing Danny Boy.
That zinger number 2. I mean, chronologically, that's like zinger number 1,000 of this movie, but that's the second zinger that we've mentioned.
Should we talk about a quick little recap of all of the similarities we found between Alien and Leprechaun?
Yes, please.
So I wrote down travels through air vents like Alien. The leprechaun is wandering through the air vents like the alien does in Alien. Arguing about bonuses and shares. There's a scene in Leprechaun, which I know you started writing down furiously when it happened, where... Can
I touch on it briefly?
Yeah, I just want to tell who I named this character. I don't know what his real name is, but I named him Chrome Dome Man.
He's got a metal head, but you can see that it's just over his head.
Yeah, it's very bad makeup.
It's not good, but there's a point in time where they spend way too much time of this movie arguing back and forth about the bonuses. There's no context. It's we're getting 4% of the gross profits, blah, blah, blah. But they're both talking like that for maybe 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Which is, 30 seconds sound short, but...
It's not short when it comes to this movie.
No. So that was one thing, but go on.
No, I mean, I have those two things, and then the other thing I wrote is that both films have a cyborg plot twist.
Oh, they do have a cyborg plot twist.
Both films do. So I thought that was interesting. And this movie actually has a double cyborg plot twist because Dr. Mittenhands, which is the best ridiculous name ever, is revealed to be a cyborg. But then Chrome Dome Man at the end, when he dies, spoiler alert, he dies,
also
a cyborg.
Yep.
That Chrome Dome was hiding his cyborg parts.
Oh, the ending. They both end the same.
Oh, yeah, with the leprechaun or alien going out of the airlock and exploding in space.
Yep. Did the alien explode in space? Or did he just
I think so.
TBD.
Don't add us.
It's definitely not to the degree in which the alien explodes at least 3 times in this movie. Oh, no.
You mean the leprechaun?
The leprechaun explodes at least 3 times.
Yeah, I was really shocked, not being familiar with this franchise. The leprechaun dies 14 minutes into the movie. The leprechaun gets exploded by a bomb. And I was like, well, and so then I told Alex what I thought was going to happen is that they were going to collect the leprechaun's parts and bring him back to the lab. And then he was going to regenerate or something and then wreak havoc.
Wow.
And it wasn't far off. I just didn't know that he was going to regenerate himself by a man peeing on his remains.
You better believe it.
Through magic? I guess it's magic?
Everything is magic. Literally, the Leprechaun can do whatever he wants in this movie. He makes things appear. He, I don't know why he bothers with a gun at any point in time in the movie, because he can just, push people back with, a kind of Star Wars Force thing. At some point, he has a fucking Star Wars lightsaber. Very briefly.
What are the extent of his powers, though? I mean, does the movie need to exist? Could the Leprechaun just have, blinked them all out of existence?
That's what I'm wondering, because he just did whatever he wanted, and it seems like the movie is long because the Leprechaun made it long. If that makes sense.
Maybe that the Leprechaun is punishing us by making us watch this movie.
Yes. Oh boy, do I feel punished. And I love bad movies. I mean, I think this movie is fun. I think it's fun. I got a lot of good quotes out of it.
Did you?
Yes.
Good quotes?
Yes. I'm gonna
read your quotes.
Okay.
Top quotes. Alex's top quotes from Leprechaun 4: in space.
Top quotes. I've already touched on Death from Above as he was pissing on the alien remains. I've already touched on Don't touch me unless you mean it, cowboy. Here's to nasty sex and women who never say no. That one's problematic. That's a bad quote. That's the worst quote.
Very problematic. I have one. When the Leprechaun talks about barbecuing his buns.
He goes on. And
he goes
bits.
A whole riff.
Yeah, he riffs on he did a whole John Wayne riff.
Yeah, I liked the John Wayne riff. That's my favorite one.
That means in this universe, the Leprechaun has watched John Wayne movies, and the Leprechaun has been to a barbecue, or I guess at least knows what a barbecue is. And maybe he's been invited.
I wrote down that the male, I guess, lead of this movie, I did not like him.
Books.
Is that his name? His name is Books. What a terrible name. I wrote fake Stallone because he kind of looks like Sylvester Stallone, and I feel like somebody, some casting person was like, "Oh, we need this guy. He looks like Sly Stallone."
Yeah, he's like a skinny face Sylvester Stallone.
Can I get real nerdy for a second?
Yes.
Not only does this movie borrow from Alien, but it steals in a major way from one of my favorite science fiction franchises, Doctor Who, because Dr. Mittenhands, when he's revealed to be a cyborg, looks exactly like Davos, who is I don't know if he's the king, but he's the leader of the Daleks in Doctor Who, and he rides around on the same kind of little motorized hexagon situation.
Is he also kind of skin fused to?
He's not skin fused, but he's not all human anymore, and he's definitely part robot still.
Is he Hitler-esque?
Sort of, yes. The Daleks in Doctor Who are all about exterminating anyone who doesn't look like them. So they are essentially the alien Nazis of space.
Dang. Yeah, I got mad Hitler vibes.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
mad Hitler vibes.
Mad Hitler vibes. He had a German accent. And
oh, yeah. A really bad German accent.
Really bad German accent. And let me just say that, a lot of this movie, I cannot tell what anyone is saying. It's not recorded very well, and the thing is, at some point they definitely did ADR. I remember I think Harold had a line where I was like, oh, they went over that, but then I think every point after that they're like, fuck it. Hold on, I have more quotes after Tina says that she's a doctor of biology. Book says, so you are pretty smart, right?
The whole thing about their whole sexual chemistry, I would put big air quotes around that, is just so frustrating, because the moment they both show up on screen, he's a total dick to her, and you can tell that she's just I gotta have it.
No, she's also a dick. I wrote down she seems like an asshole, because he says you must be really smart, and she's like, well, actually it depends on what smart means. Smart relative to what? Blah blah blah. And then
I guess that's true.
She explains to him.
She makes him feel like a real big dummy.
Yeah, but then after that scene, I wrote down what you said, which is they're going to have angry sex.
Yeah. They're going to hate fuck later.
I don't know, they kind of liked each other at the end, I think.
Did they? I feel like it's the thing in Speed where relationships that start in
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen Speed? Oh, we're gonna watch Speed. Podcast listeners, think of a bad movie equivalent for Speed if you got one. It might be Speed 2 Cruise Control. It might be a sequel feature.
I know who's in it. I know it's Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves, and boy is he
Zaddy. Yeah. Keanu, if you're listening, we love you.
I love you. Oh, I got it. I got another quote. The leprechaun is talking about how he doesn't really give a fuck about. The leprechaun doesn't really give a fuck about the princess that he's trying to. Have we talked at all about what this movie is about?
I mean, we haven't, but I also feel like, does the plot even matter when it comes to Leprechaun 4 in space?
Not really. Essentially, just a little backstory. So the plot of Leprechaun 4 in space is Leprechaun, he can make money appear, he's rich as fuck, but he doesn't have any power, so he's like, oh shit, I'm gonna go ahead and like get with this like princess so I can be the king of the universe. The part that's kind of infuriating about that is that like no one on the spaceship knows who this princess is, even though her dad like literally runs the universe. But yeah, he just wants power, so he kidnaps this princess, but she's kind of into it 'cause she wants the money.
Well, he hypnotizes her, right? Or did I miss that? Is she just playing along because she is gonna kill him and take his money and be queen?
No, I think she was just like, yeah, money.
I think he like hypnotizes her because he's like he keeps going like, gold is good, and like waving jewels around in her face. I think it's like his magical hypnotizing.
Oh, maybe.
I kind of love her when she's hypnotized by the leprechaun, honestly, because she's just kind of like let's kill everybody. And I'm like, yeah, let's kill everybody.
Yeah, because fuck everybody on that ship, except for Styx.
We do like Styx. He's got some of the best lines.
He's the best actor.
21st century and they still can't dance, I believe is the line that we both chuckled at.
Yeah, that was a good one. So he's talking about how he doesn't even need this chick. He said, I will wed her, bed her, and bury her in the same day.
That's what the leprechaun says?
He said that, and I was like,
they blocked that out.
That's literally a fuck, marry, kill. Or marry, fuck, kill.
Damn leprechaun.
Yeah, so I wrote that. No.
She's pretty. She just got a lot of weird glitter all over her. And I thought that she was just like a human princess and then realized, oh no, the glitter just means she's an alien.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Did we talk about the scene where she shows her boobs?
We didn't.
I mean, it literally seems like it's just a scene because somebody's like, well, you got to have some fucking tits in this movie. And they're like, all right, we got you. And we write the scene where she shows her tits to curse everyone.
I had already written my notes about this where she was just like, here are my boobs. Out of context, and then later, not very soon after, somebody was like, on her home planet, that's a death sentence.
And in movie making, that's lazy screenwriting.
I feel like that's kind of the summation of this entire movie.
Yeah.
They're like, we gotta fill some time here. John Wayne quotes. There we go. Yeah. Well, John Wayne is canonical to the Leprechaun.
I guess so.
I have another good quote. So the boner thing happened when he was like gonna bone this military chick.
Well, he gets the boner and that's how the leprechaun is awoken.
Yeah, and so she says a chick who gave him the boner, she said, I'm the one who gave him a boner. And then the sergeant said, Kowalski would have wanted it that way.
Yeah.
And then he goes on about how if he's gonna die, he would want to have a boner, and they give each other like this knowing look. And I said, lady loves dick.
I feel like maybe that's just where we leave Leprechaun. Lady loves dick, boobs shown for no reason.
No, we haven't even talked about the drag queen scene.
Oh, the drag sequence. I forgot.
I just wrote, I love this movie. Sergeant is not fish, and he's in kitten heels.
He is in kitten heels.
So try harder. But there was no reason for any of that to happen. I don't understand the context in which, like, why that happened, but
I feel like that, because of when it was written, is it okay? Is it problematic that there's a drag sequence in this? Are they trying to just, like, capitalize on the popularity of other things like Tu Wong Fu or The Birdcage?
Very possibly.
Those films were around this time.
Yeah.
Something that so I'm gonna like just leave the plot of Leprechaun, but I did like a little preemptive Googling IMDb research before we got together this evening, and I found out that the director of this film, don't remember his name, don't really care.
He's a hyphenated name.
He does have a hyphenated name, but in my very cursory look, discovered that Quentin Tarantino is a big fan of his. I guess he made some sort of like exploitation-ish movie in like the 70s, and Quentin Tarantino loved it.
Maybe we'll get to go see a different Leprechaun film at the New Bev now that it's reopening.
Maybe.
Oh boy. So last two things I want to touch on, and then I'll talk about the trivia that I was foreshadowing earlier.
Yeah.
Common theme with Alien, they like set the spaceship to self-destruct.
Oh yeah, the self-destruct sequence.
Yeah, and they're all like freaking out, and they need the password for it to end.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It needed to be like in context to Dr. Mittenhands. But
their first guess was scientist.
And then they went genius. And then they both looked at each other and just went wizard, when no one has said the word wizard once in this movie. And wizard was the password.
Also, the way that the word wizard showed up on the computer screen was weird for me.
That was an interesting font choice.
A very interesting font choice.
And then finally, the greatest little finishing touch that you could ever put at the end of a film, the leprechaun's hand that has been detached from its body in space, floating, giving them the finger.
I feel like that scene made you give this movie a star.
I think I shot my hands up in the air.
You definitely did. You were very excited.
I loved it. And it was like a big hand, because at some point the leprechaun becomes Big Leprechaun. That's it.
Yeah, this movie makes not a lot of sense.
No sense.
So
Okay.
Trivia.
The leprechaun has no rhythm in this one. That's what made the leprechaun a very famous killer, is his rhyming words. That's the entire statement.
So limericks. I was right, limericks.
None of this makes any sense. He has no rhythm.
Par for the course with the film, though.
Let's talk about the iTunes review.
I didn't know you could do I guess I knew you could do iTunes reviews.
This is from 6 years ago, from Hunter Smith.
Sup, Hunter?
3 stars. I want to see it, but I don't know if it's worth it.
Wait, he 3-starred the trailer?
I don't know.
Wow. Didn't know you could do that. I mean, I guess you can do whatever you want. Good on you, Hunter.
6 years ago, Bobby Jr. said, cool movie with gun, blood, and violence.
Bobby Jr., I have questions for you.
And there's 2 other ones, but they're not that funny.
Bobby Jr., do you only like movies with gun, blood, and violence? Because if so, I feel like you need to talk to somebody.
I feel like you need to watch Alien.
Maybe.
Okay, so wait. I want us to give our numerical reviews of the films, and then I want to give the Rotten Tomatoes scores.
Okay. For me, Alien, I would give it a 5. I mean, Alien's a movie that I don't really have any quibbles with anything in it. I love it. I think so much of the movie making things in it are near perfect, if not perfect for me. So it's a 5. 5 out of 5.
What about Leprechaun 4 in Space?
Can I go negative? Is it possible to say negative stars?
Everything's made up. You can do
I can do whatever I want. I'm going to go... I mean, all right, I won't... I mean, I guess I'll give it 1 star. I laughed at some stuff, but I will say I got really tired while I was watching it, mostly probably because I was bored. Mm-hmm. And I feel like a movie that's in space with a lot of bloodshed should have been more fun.
I think that's fair. I would give Alien a 4 out of 5 stars.
Why minus 1 star?
The pods?
Oh, right, okay, the stomach sleeping on pods.
It's
okay.
not just the pods. I mean, there's just like, it just didn't, there's like, it's a good movie, but it's like not something that really captivated me, but I appreciate everything in it that was, hold on.
I feel like you're like on the stand and you don't have to defend your score to me.
Okay.
I just was curious why the minus star, and if it's the pods, that's fine.
It's not just the pods. It's just that like there's good movies and then there's movies that I like, and then there's also movies that are good and I like them, and I feel like I have to like Not that I dislike Alien, but it's not a 5-star like for me.
That's fine.
I will say it is a good movie.
4
though.
stars is a pretty good score.
4 stars. C's get degrees, and you know what, baby? That's a B, and I think the saying is D's get degrees.
But what's your score for Leprechaun?
You're gonna hate me. It's not a 5, obviously. It's also not a 4. I'm giving it a 2-star.
Oh, okay.
I'm giving Leprechaun 2 stars. Is it lazy screenwriting? Yes. Is the soundtrack and the effects bad? Yes. Is the acting also bad? Yes. Do I know for a fact that Warwick Davis fucking loves playing the Leprechaun? Yes.
Are you friends with Warwick Davis? Is that how you know?
No, I know people who know. I know people who have like some connection to like him or the Leprechaun movies. And just like background here, I want to make Leprechaun in the White House. That is my calling.
So that's what I feel like you need to give it more stars if you're really trying to get in on that franchise.
I'm just keeping it real. 2 stars.
Your integrity, you got it. You're a woman of integrity. I appreciate that.
That's the first time anyone has ever said that to me.
You heard it here first, folks.
Okay, so in terms of how other people feel about it, Alien, 97% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Seems good.
That's the critic score, 94%.
Public regulars.
Score.
Regulars.
Leprechaun 4 in Space, 0% score.
For both critics and public?
No, public is 20%.
Wow, public.
But I think the audience score only has like 5 reviews or something like that. And there's only 6 critic reviews, but they all said, hell no.
Hell no.
So, that's it.
So, I guess if you want to play along at home and you've never seen Alien or Leprechaun 4 in Space, or you've seen them and you just want to rewatch them both and at us and let us know your scores.
Even though Jen has said explicitly don't at her.
Well, I'm telling you to at me with your score specifically and to not yell at me for any things I may have said incorrectly or something that you find inflammatory that I've said. I just don't want dudes yelling at me on the internet. It's 2018, almost 2019. I'm an old woman and I don't want to have men yell at me on the internet for my movie opinions. And I think that's fair. So if you want to talk back to us regarding today's episode and your ratings for Alien or Leprechaun 4 in Space, you can find us on social media platforms, twitter.com at dubtrubfeature and Instagram, also dubtrubfeature.
And that's DUBTRUB, feature as in feature.
Hopefully you know how to spell feature.
Look it up.
And do we want to give out our email address?
Yeah,
is that worrisome? You can email us.
If you want to give us money for like a sponsorship thing, you can email us.
Email us if you have money. Our email is double
full spelling
trouble
full spelling
feature
same as before
pod
at gmail.com.
The wonderful folks at Gmail.
Google.
Give us money, Google.
Sponsor us, please.
Please.
All right, that's it.
Yeah, so, tell us your ratings, and we'll be back.
And we'll disregard them.
Next week with 2 new movies. I'm Jen. That's
Alex.
And you've been listening to
Double
Trouble
Feature
Podcast. Yay! Goodbye.
Bye.